Hello, my name is Abel Sanchez. In this lesson we're going to be doing some light inspection of the code that gets executed in the browser. I'm going to be using the same information and the same code and the same JSON file that we used on the JSON exercises. If you haven't seen those lessons, go ahead and look at them before you proceed with this one. So as you can see here, just for review, I'm defining a variable called data, and within that I have a JSON statement. You can see here that I have one value pair. The key, the handle on the first is users, and the value of that is an array with 4 items. You can see here that the name of the items on each one of those is Michael, Paul, George, and Elvis. So let's go ahead and take a look at our code file. You can see here some JavaScript that accesses the length of that array. We print that to the screen. We then loop, and within each of those iterations we print to the screen the name of each of those items in that array that we just took a look at. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the browser. And depending on what operating system you're on, the developer tools will look slightly different. But ultimately, you're going to have a menu where you're going to have a tools section that connects you to the developer tools. This one is for Mac OS. I'm going to show you the one for PC in a second. This one is for PC, same thing. You hit the tools section and then developer tools. And then if you happen to be on a Chromebook, I'm going to go ahead and show this one here. You hit more tools and also connect to developer tools. So I'm going to go ahead and open the developer tools on this machine. And I'm going to go ahead and put a breakpoint. This is the same code that we were just inspecting within our text editor. And in this case, I'm going to stop in the definition of length. When I click on the button, this function within the JavaScript block is going to be called, and then I'm going to stop it just as the length variable is being executed. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the button now, and you can see that the execution has stopped on this line. If I go one more line, I now have a value for length, and if I inspect it, you can see there that on mouse over it gives me the value of that variable. Data has also been created, so I can inspect that, and you can see here that within it we have users, which we saw on the text file. Let's go ahead and review. If we take a look at it, we can see here users and then the array. If we go back here, we can expand that, users, and then each of those 4 items you can see here. Okay? It is also making use, it is also accessing the length property there. So you can see where all that information comes from. So if I go one more step, this should write to the screen the length. And that was that line right there. If we go one more line, we're now within the loop and iterating through data and accessing the name property on each of those array items. We can go ahead and go here, and we can see here that this is accessing data, then users, and then the counter is, you can also see the value as it iterates through the loops. In this case it's 0, and then name. So I'm going to go ahead and step through this, and you can see there that it's read Michael. If we go back to our editor, you can see that the first item is Michael. Now if I go back to the browser and I do one more iteration, we will see that the counter has now increased, and so the next one to read will be Paul. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And you can see there that Paul has been read. Now I'm going to go ahead and let it run to the end, and then we will just see George and Elvis, and there are no more breakpoints. So this is a light introduction to debugging, to some code inspection, and make sure you walk through and see how those objects, you can access those objects, and how you can interact with the code that you have written. Experiment and have some fun. This is the best way to learn. So with that, let me thank you and say goodbye.